Welcome to another YouTube video. It's the weekend. I hope everybody is having a good one. We're just obviously going to take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, so this week has been just choppy as anything, right? And there's not really altcoins have obviously sold off quite a little bit off their local tops that they've currently formed at the moment, and Bitcoin is just consolidating. All right, and Bitcoin's around nearly 6% off its all-time high. Okay, and when we put in this high here, which is our current weekly high, we're around 3% off an all-time high. So obviously, Bitcoin is really close to a new all-time high, and this week has just been consolidation. So, we have previous week range. Okay, so previous week range is this low over here and this high. Okay, and you can see that we had taken previous week high, which is here, right? So this was the daily sell program formation, right, which you can see there. And we've just consolidated since. Now, obviously, when the sell program did occur, we did have the initial drop, right? And this drop has, at the moment, formed our current weekly low. And of course, we've got our current weekly high, okay, which is also Monday range. So there's not really been any opportunity to trade, okay, to trade these levels on Bitcoin, really, to be honest. And I think next week, potentially even tomorrow, Sunday, okay, so into weekly close, I do think we're going to get the move that we're looking for. And ultimately that move. So if we go to my other Bitcoin chart, okay, so this is my other Bitcoin chart, and you can see if we go to the weekly time frame, you can see how close we were from putting in a new all-time high. Now, we have the daily sell program, and obviously I've talked about these buy programs, sell programs a lot in YouTube videos, okay, a hell of a lot. And there's a lot of different steps and signatures I want to see to be confident in a sell program or buy program. You remember we had the buy program down here. We've enjoyed all this upside. We also had a buy program which was here, okay, and we sold the sell program which was around here for the next move lower, right? And we covered all of this in the YouTube videos, right? So I do have a daily and a weekly. Well, I do have a daily sell program. I'm waiting for confidence in the weekly sell program. Now, obviously, we're getting a bit of a bearish close here now, and this is what I kind of want to see for a sell program. Okay, I want to see a bearish close as opposed to, if you take for example here, this was what I believed could have been potentially a weekly sell program. See the way we get the wick up and above this weekly high of this up close candle. This could have been potentially a weekly sell program, right? Manipulate the previous week high in this case, and then you start to get a bearish close. The only problem in this case was the weekly close of this candle, right? It was still a bullish close, okay? So it was still a bullish close, and that's kind of why, bulls still have momentum, and that's why we didn't trade into this weekly bullish fair value gap. All right. So in this case, it's a little bit different because we might potentially have manipulated the high, manipulated previous week high, get a bearish weekly close, okay, and this could potentially be the formation of the pullback. Now you look at altcoins, and altcoins are kind of given that same vibe that they've already started selling off a lot more before Bitcoin. So is Bitcoin potentially looking for a bit of a deeper pullback? So pull back maybe into this weekly bullish fair value gap. All right. Or could we close somewhere around these levels? Then this would be this would then be the new previous week low, okay, by close tomorrow, and then do we close, so do we then look for this level and trade a little bit lower here, and then we move higher, right? So when I look at the daily time frame, go back to my other Bitcoin chart. When I look at the daily time frame, that's kind of what's giving me the vibe at the moment. Is we're seeing, um, of course, we're kind of seeing price just consolidating. Funnily enough, where we consolidated all week, we've consolidated on around the equilibrium. Okay, so the Monday range equilibrium. And you can see that's where a lot of where price is traded and likes to trade. Okay, and we're right on that level again, equilibrium. This is obviously a really tight range and tight consolidation. Now, if you look at this from a power of three perspective, is this consolidation? So accumulation. Now, is this the manipulation? Which I do doubt. But is this the accumulation? Then we get the manipulation. So manipulate Monday range low, which would be previous week low when we get the close tomorrow, and then previous week high when we get the close tomorrow. Of course, this is the current weekly high and the current weekly low. Do we manipulate the low? Right, fill a little bit of this inefficiency, daily inefficiency, which would also then be a weekly inefficiency, and then we distribute higher. Okay, we would then distribute a lot higher and then go for the all-time high, right? So this is what I'm kind of looking for now, heading into tomorrow's close and heading into next week, right? We're going to look and manipulate one of these levels, right? One of these key levels. It's either going to be the high or it's going to be the low. And whatever one we manipulate, I'm going to look to frame the trade and my positioning off that manipulation, right? Because yes, we do have the sell program and we do have the manipulation of the previous week high in this case, but we've just continued to consolidate, right? Consolidate with no real action. So this is the formation of Monday range. This is the formation of the current weekly range, and this is potentially going to be the formation of previous week range by tomorrow's close, weekly close. So I am favouring this probabilities wise, okay, or we may manipulate the high and then distribute lower, right? So obviously there are two scenarios that I'm looking at, two scenarios probably everybody's looking at. I highly doubt we're going to spend another week of consolidation. Be extremely painful otherwise. And it's been, obviously not the best week to trade Bitcoin. Really, altcoin's been a lot better by the looks of it. So this is what I'm going to look for. This is what I'm going to look for into tomorrow's weekly close. This is what I'm going to look for into next week. I'm not too sure if there's any red folder events next week. I will have to check. But yeah, ultimately, this is what I'm looking for. There's not really much else to action at this moment of time with Bitcoin because we've not taken a key level and we're just consolidating. And really, you want to get in the move that is before expansion or distribution. Okay, so this is kind of where you want to get in the move, right? When a high or low has been manipulated, and that's when you want to look for the trade in the entry model. Then you take the trade and then you ride it. Okay, you ride it to a new all-time high, or you ride it into the key levels that we've potentially got pointed out here. Now, obviously we do have the weekly, which we just had a look at. We do have the weekly bullish fair value gap that's down here. Okay, do I think we're going to potentially trade this low? Really, it depends if this weekly sell program remains as is, okay, and depends then how next week close, right? So you can see how I'm going to take it week by week. I'm not prepared to say at this moment of time that we're going to immediately trade into this level, and that's what I'm convinced of, because I'm not convinced. What I'm convinced of is that if I take this week by week, day by day, then I remain as objective as possible when reading the charts before I take any trades, and that will give me my position that I need at that time. So I want to see how weekly closes. I would love to see a bearish weekly close. If we get a bearish weekly close, which is looking like we're probably going to get, then I would, as I said, I favour a stop hunt or manipulation of the low. So then it will be manipulation of previous week low or the Monday range low in this case, and then we distribute, expand higher, all right? And that would suffice as the power of three model. Okay, now, as I said, we have this daily, okay, bullish fair value gap, which is here. Of course, it's not really that strong. We do have a daily bullish fair value gap, which is down here too, which I much prefer. You know, it's right at the swing point over here. And we do have a bit of an order block formation, which is here too. So the two down to close candles, that'll be the order block. Obviously, we had the bearish daily order block, which is here. As you can see, we consolidated around before then blasting through. So there are a few levels which are lower that could give us sort of that resistance to support flip. Okay, another daily order block, bullish fair value gap. There's some interesting levels that we do have on the chart, but I don't think I think yes, potentially consolidation a little bit further into summer, a little bit further into the end of May, possibly into June. But overall, we're going to distribute one way, we're going to expand one way. So it's either we expand higher or lower. I want to see one of these levels taken first. Okay, so another interesting probably thing to note is where we typically consolidate. Okay, so we covered this in the last video, and if we go back to the weekly, so we know that we have a weekly change in state of delivery, right? This is our weekly change in state of delivery, which is here, weekly order block formation, and all we're looking for is the order flow momentum trend trade, right? So in reality, all that means is we trade higher, then we get formation of a sell program, like we got a sell program over here. We then retrace, okay, not a full reversal. A full reversal of this entire move would have been taken where the move started, okay, so it would have been taking these lows down here. That would have been a full reversal. But instead, we just retraced. We retraced this big expansion, displacement move into a key higher time frame level, which we stated was our breakaway gap. Okay, we covered this in lots of our YouTube videos. And then we continue with the trend. All right, continue with the trend, which is still remains higher, right? So we're going to see a similar type of thing where we get the sell program formation possibly. And as I said, we've been consolidating at these levels, such as because we have the weekly change in state of delivery, our CISD, and we've covered these in the other videos, we have to draw a standard deviation target, okay, which is these levels, negative 0.5, negative 1, negative 1.5, okay, negative 2, negative 2.5, and so on, okay. So we kind of covered a lot of change in state and delivery in the last few videos, so I'm not going to go into too much depth at the moment, but we're consolidating at these levels of the standard deviation targets, right? We're consolidating at them. And this is where price is typically taking a breather as such. So you can see we consolidated at the negative 0.5 standard deviation target, right? Which was sitting above this high. So this would be buy side liquidity, sitting above this key level, being a daily order block, and we consolidated. Okay, so we consolidated and we're looking for confluence where we could potentially consolidate. So we consolidated and then we had another displacement move higher. And again, what are we doing? Okay, we're consolidating, which is here. You can actually see that you can see here, we do actually have another daily order block formation. So let's draw out this daily order block. Okay, so in this case, take the two up close candles. Okay, so you can actually see that we are consolidating around this daily order block too. Okay, so yeah, daily bearish order block. Couldn't get my words out properly then. Daily bearish order block, which you can see we're consolidating at, which is around -1 standard deviations, and it's actually right on the consequent encroachment pretty much of this order block too. So let's just bring it. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, you can actually see that we're consolidating within this level right now. So, we take this day by day, take it week by week. We mark out the key levels where we could possibly consolidate, key levels where we could possibly reject from. And yeah, we're just waiting for a little bit more direction in the market before making a move. And yes, altcoins are kind of giving that move at the moment, movement to the downside. But ultimately, Bitcoin's going to be the driver. Okay, it's going to be the driver of the market. It's going to be the driver to whether the market's going to see a new all-time high and to price discovery, or if we're going to see new lows. Okay, or we might just consolidate and we have this longer period of consolidation over the summer, and that longer period of consolidation could very well happen, because when did we have it last? When did we have the last period of consolidation? The last period of consolidation was last summer. And when did it start? It started around March, April, and it lasted all the way until September. So obviously everybody remembers how painful 6 to 7 months worth of consolidation was and no real movement in the market before expansion. And obviously it was really tricky to navigate for a lot of people. We may potentially have that, okay, where we just consolidate, okay, just consolidating these key levels right up until potentially September, October, later this year, and then we start getting the expansion moves that we want to see. Okay, that's what we might have. Never ever rule these types of movements out, because they will and they can happen. Right, it's always the most painful conditions in the market, right? Consolidation. And obviously everyone's getting pretty euphoric and excited on this big move up. Everyone calling for all-time highs and price discovery in Bitcoin. And of course, even I am looking at Bitcoin and thinking, this is my weekly change in state of delivery target. From this change in state of delivery between 117 and 124,000 before then a pullback. I'd love to see this move. Okay, but it's never as easy as that. Never ever as easy as that. So, we take it take it day by day, take it week by week. At the moment, not really much to action. Look for a key level to be taken out. Yes, we potentially have the daily sell program, which we're still trading within, and we might have a weekly sell program formation. Okay, if we do for some reason get the close above this previous week high, so tomorrow, we've only got till tomorrow, then it's continuation. Okay, but at the moment, it's not looking like that. So, yeah, just a few ideas. My position at the moment, things really haven't changed for me, to be honest, from a spot perspective. I'm still obviously looking at altcoins, still kind of in accumulation mode in altcoins, fully expecting consolidation over the summer, and again, the fund return hopefully around Q4 this year. All right, okay, cheers.